Good morning. This is Jason Dean at Film Fanatic. Hope everyone's doing good. It's about 10 o'clock on a lazy Sunday morning and slash going into the afternoon here. So I hope everyone's doing good. Thanks again for everybody with you know all the great outpouring of support. I posted a thing recently, a little post about just about this page, this channel, an overall little blurb about Film Fanatic, and it was mostly centered on the YouTube channel. And I was basically just saying how I really appreciate and love that people have been checking out the page, and you can only do so many things by yourself. As far as trying to build something from scratch, whether it's some kind of project, and you can have some success with being able to venture out on your own and kind of trying to have focus. And if you have something in mind as far as like a project or some kind of concept, you can have this focus, and you can have this will to kind of make that happen. But you really can't do, and you can have success by that, by if you feel like you, after some time goes by, you have a clear outlook, and maybe reach a point where when you're venturing into some new into a new project, you might be part of the process. I always find is that you go through this thing where you start second guessing what you're doing a lot, and you kind of you wake up one day and you're like, wait, what am I doing? This is crazy. This isn't really going anywhere. But then you're still driven to kind of work through that and to try to improve upon what your eventual goal is to be. And I don't know, over the years I've learned to realize that my nature, or my natural state of things, is that I usually always second guess and go through that process of where I always second guess things and kind of doubt things. But I've kind of learned over time and over the years to try to almost use that as a tool, or as a badge that's actually positive, because I always feel like I'm in the state of being like the consummate student, trying to learn. And that being said, you can only, you're limited by what you can do, by your own terms. So you do need to have support, and you need to have some kind of base and foundation. And basically, the whole point of the post that I had put on Facebook the other day was just generally thanking friends that I know, and people that I know, and a lot of people I don't know. But mostly, it was mostly centered on the great community, and the friends that I have that have been incredibly supportive of this channel, as well as many other crazy projects that I've gotten involved in, and particularly around music things centered around quantum, and trying new ways of us kind of marketing ourselves as a band, and other in various forms of different gigs that we've put together. And so, and the main part is that it's really helped. All of the support from local friends and this community has been really awesome, and it's really helped this YouTube channel grow. And I really appreciate people are starting to comment a little bit more. So yeah, so thanks. I couldn't do any of this stuff without you guys. So thanks again, and here's to moving forward, and to trying to always find new ways to improve on this, or in this platform. The other thing I posted yesterday is basically it's going to be the first, more or less, Film Fanatic event. And I tried doing this event a few months ago, but due to a bunch of different things, had to cancel it. So this whole event is going to be a little bit of a celebration. Well, it is a celebration. It's going to be a party, but it's going to be centered on Friday. This Friday 13th movie that is called Freddy vs. Jason. It came out in 2003, and originally when I set up this event, it was going to be right when I was finishing up doing the coverage of that entire Friday 13th franchise, and that was a couple of months ago. So I had to move the date, so it's going to be coming up next month. So stay tuned for that. And it's basically going to be a party, but the centerpiece of the party is we're going to be watching Freddy vs. Jason, and it's going to be an interesting, I think, fun experiment, and probably also a good excuse to just have a party. And the intention of it is to try to record all of it or some of it for a future upload to the channel. And it's going to be it's going to be centered hopefully around the movie, but it's also going to be a little bit of a celebration of kind of breaking this thing open and trying to and giving this whole channel life, and seeing that how it's been growing slowly, and it's just been a really fun experience. So, and it's going to be a public event. It's going to be I'm going to host it here at my house. So the seating space wise it's a little bit limited, but we'll see. I don't know what exactly it will be in regards to actual turnout, because I know a lot of folks that personally that are not into the slasher genre like I am, but it could be a fun thing, and it'll be a good excuse to just have a party to try to kind of celebrate this whole thing that I've been doing. So thanks again. So this video is centered on, and also these series of videos that I've been doing. This is my third coverage of a franchise. I did, like I said, or actually I should say, probably my fourth. Started off with Friday 13th. I did the entire coverage, and I did videos for all of those movies in the world of Friday 13th, the entire franchise. Then I also did Halloween, another great, wonderful franchise that means a lot. And I also did, the last one I did was about the Avenger films, the great Marvel movies. And that was a lot of fun. So with this whole kind of concept, I've been watching more or less each movie in succession. And it's been fun because I've been revisiting movies that I haven't seen in such a long time. Some films I even think I might not have ever seen. So this is the fourth series, and this is all about the Psycho movies. I said before in a couple of the other videos that I never really thought of the Psycho movies as a franchise per se. I always equate it to one singular movie directed by Alfred Hitchcock in 1960. The iconic movie that it is. Overall, probably my favorite Hitchcock movie. And that movie is such a legendary film, and helped to inspire millions of different directors and films. I think it really lent a hand. It lent a hand, and also added to kind of the development of the slasher genre and horror in general. And Hitchcock's ability as a director, is what can you say about, or what can you say that hasn't been said about his amazing legacy, and just him as a director and as a figure in cinema, how influential he's been, and people will always go back to his films for the rest of time. So with this franchise, I started to realize, okay, there's all these other movies, and there's a guy who I've talked about, Moods, who is this Canadian YouTube guy who's my favorite person on the World Wide Web. He mostly specializes in doing films that are, like the horror grindhouse subgenre. and he takes these like really deep dives. But he also does lots of different other kinds of things. He does a lot of documentaries and what have you. But he had done a show where he was focusing on these these sequels to Psycho, the original. And I've seen them all, but I was like, wow, I didn't even think, for some reason I never really thought of it as a franchise, and plus I had not seen any of the movies in a very very long time. So the last one I just saw, and I've been blown away by how great they are, and in some ways, as iconic and as I regard the original as being such a masterpiece. I found myself almost liking these other movies a little bit more, and it's an interesting franchise because I feel like to a degree each film gets better. Um, so the last one that I just watched, that one I think I remember seeing it as a kid. I was like super young. I remember seeing it as a kid, and I think I saw it in the theater, which is crazy. And this one came out in 1986, and it was the really interesting part of this, or the most interesting part of this movie. It was directed by Anthony Perkins, who stars as the lead Norman Bates. Super interesting. And I this film, I feel like the third one feels like a little bit more of a traditional slasher film, even though it's got a lot of great exposition. There's a little bit of a slow build up to where the I guess you could say the slasher elements are brought into play, but it's a really really well done movie. I was really surprised. Stars Anthony Perkins, Diana Sarwood, and Jeff Fahey, who was a real popular actor in the '80s. I remember he was in virtually almost every movie at one point. And it also stars Roberta Maxwell, Hugh Gillian, Robert Allen Brown, and Gary Bayer. Incredible cast. The and the direction, I really want to track down to see if Anthony Perkins directed any other films, because I think this is like a really, really great piece of cinema. And it's the third one, and I almost feel like this one might almost be my favorite film. It's crazy, and the music for this film is really great, and it was composed by Carter Burwell. It's got this really haunting kind of melancholy score, and the instrumentation in the film is really great for the score and the music. It has like some classical string instruments mixed in with like electric guitar with a lot of there's a lot of reverb and kind of delay that's put on as an effect, but it's a very haunting melody, and it's a beautiful it's a real interesting change of trying to create this different mood. It's got this very melancholy vibe, but I will say too, the movie eventually does go very much into the slasher realm, and the kills are really great, really impressive. Just so incredibly surprised by how great these films are. The next thing, as far as me, I like one of the things I love to do is when I come across a film, whether it's an actor or say a director, it's usually centered on when I discover a film or maybe a film that I've seen, but it was like forever ago. One of the things I like to do is to I'll check out a director, and I'll dive into trying to find out what else that person's done, and same thing for like certain actors. I love one director that I've been doing some shows. I've done about three videos on three of his movies, and I just recently kind of discovered him. Even though I know there's a certain group of films that I saw when I was a kid during the time of the VHS, and he's this amazing exploitation director, Jess Franco. And I spent a lot of time fairly recently digging into his collection of his body of work, and it's amazing like how many films he was responsible for, and and So it's brought in, it's brought all of these new movies to light that I want to check out, and I've been buying quite a few of his films. So I didn't realize that Anthony Perkins was also a director. So I'm going to look into seeing what else he was involved with as far as being in the director chair. But yeah, Psycho 3 is a tremendous movie. It's an awesome movie. The next films in the franchise, Psycho 4, which I'm not sure if I've seen that one, but that one was a TV movie. That's going to be probably a little bit harder to track down. I might do a video, I might not do a video on it. And that was I believe, a made-for-TV movie, and it came out maybe 4 or 5 years after Psycho 3. And so it's Psycho 4. And then the other film I really want to cover is the Gus Van Sant Psycho film, where he basically, pays homage to the original Psycho, and it's modeled more or less shot for shot after, the original classic by Hitchcock. And I had a lot of mixed feelings about that film over the years, but I bought it on Blu-ray a few years ago, and I've seen it a couple of times, and I actually like that movie. The cast is great. So I think I'm going to include that on the show, and also within this series. And I do own that one. I don't own any of these other movies, unfortunately, but I will definitely get them. I have Psycho, the original. I have a bunch of different versions of that. I have probably like 5 or 6 versions of that on DVD, and then Blu-ray. I probably even have a VHS version of it. These other two I do not have any copies of, which I really need to get. So yeah, so I definitely, it's this whole thing's definitely changed my idea of how I look at these movies and Psycho into itself, and now I look at it and regard it as a franchise, and it's really great. It's kind of one of the best franchises I've discovered or revisited. I've been, like following suit with how I've been trying to do the other videos, where I've been more or less watching them in order in succession. So it's been a very cool experience. So I highly recommend checking out these films. I really think the later films, the sequels, are movies that are definitely like how I reacted to them. I think they're kind of forsaken a little bit. They're not given enough credibility, and they're not regarded as high as the original. But they're really awesome, and I kind of feel like they're better in a lot of ways. So this is Jason Dean. So thanks again. Stay tuned for, I'm going to be doing a lot of promotion for the first ever Film Fanatic event. That's going to be coming up. So, and that's going to be, coming up in December. I'll be doing a lot of promotion around that, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And stay tuned for more reviews for the rest of this franchise. So, if you get a chance, please like and subscribe to my channel. Uh, I love and really appreciate the support. So have a great day, and we will see you next time. Peace.